Hey everybody, can you guys hear me? I need to know on YouTube and also on. Hey everybody, can you guys hear me? I need to know on YouTube and also on. There we go. I'm going to get like double echo here.
Yeah, I can hear you good,
Good. Oh, good. Okay.
but we also hear the double echo.
I think I just fixed that, so hopefully, let me know. You have any echo now?
No, I can only hear you once.
Good, good. And we've got YouTube land over here, and we've got people here on Zoom. So we're doing this. We got about 3 minutes to start, and I would love for some of you guys have been starting to write over here in the chat boxes where you're from. We've got Paris and Toronto. We've got Boulder, Austin, Wyoming, and Utah and Oregon so far, and some of you have snow. It is freaking June, and there is snow in parts of this world. That is just unbelievable. This time last year, I was in Utah for quite a bit, and I can attest that there was absolutely no snow to be found. I would have loved to have dipped my toes in snow because it was so hot. So it's amazing how different a year can be. So just again, if you guys can, if you haven't already, just tell me where you're from. I would also love to know, how did you guys find me? I'm always curious about that. We've got a lot of new folks on here, and I've got my fingers in a lot of different places, so I always am curious where I am most effective in reaching people. So a business conference, that's right, Sherry. And Raven is in California. Yeah, I'm always, I've got Insight Timer and YouTube and all my stuff on the website, and then I do a lot of different conferences and things like that. And I used to do a lot of speaking engagements. So, Sam, you're in Austin. Really? There you go, Sherry. You got another Austinite there. You guys can go have tacos together. And Melissa, you were on YouTube looking for more information on the medicine wheel. Great. And Amy, originally on YouTube, and Amy's been in the mentorship now for a while. And Ramika on YouTube, you found me through your shamanic journey teacher. Who is that, if you can share? That's wonderful. And Paris, your name on YouTube is Twinspire, so I'm imagining that you did my twin flame meditation. That usually is a, yeah, see, you just wrote that. That's great. Thanks for being here. So we're going to, first of all, I just have to mention, and those on YouTube are not going to be able to see this because those who are not on camera on Zoom don't show up on the YouTube thing. Actually, I need to start recording. I always forget that. All right. So we are live on YouTube and on Zoom, and we are doing live Q&A and about the medicine wheel, mentorship, and also the meditation, which is what I'm also known for. And as I was getting ready to start on YouTube, you don't get to see the people who are not on video, and we have quite a few participants who are not on video. Sam, I love the picture that you have in place of your video, and I just have to know, is that really your cat, or did you like doctor that picture? Because I'm always trying to take great pictures like that of my cat, and it just never quite works out. They're always blurry. So anyway, you can answer that in the chat box. So we're here today to answer some questions. I've had, this happens every time we open up enrollment. We get a slew of questions that come in, and they kind of hit different themes each time, but then there's a string of questions that are usually pretty similar. And so we usually always do a live Q&A just to clear up any questions that might be lingering out there and holding you back. And also there's just questions in general about the medicine wheel, because it's really kind of a new thing, although it is thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. But we are doing a contemporary shamanic twist on the medicine wheel to really use it as a great tool for changing our lives. And so you can place questions either in YouTube chat box or in the Zoom chat box. We have some that we have pulled from some of the emails that we've gotten over the last week. And then there's, I had this happen the last week. We did another kind of Q&A thing. And somebody said, I would have asked you this, but I didn't want to, I didn't want people to know that it was me asking that. So what we have done, if you're on Zoom anyway, you can message Sherry, and you can do that privately, and you can ask her a question, and she will relay the question to me so that it doesn't come up on the chat box that you actually asked that question. There is no question that is too small. There is no question that is dumb. There is nothing that is going to be laughed at or ridiculed. I saw that on YouTube last week also. I don't know if you guys saw that. Some of you were on there too. That don't laugh at my question. I will not laugh at your question. So we've also got some people here who are on the mentorship who have chosen to be here to kind of share their experience about what they go through on the mentorship and why they're here. And some of them, Denise is on her second year. Just started her second year. Betty is on her third year. And we've got some new people who have just started here. Paula's been here for a few directions. Amy's been here for a few directions. I don't think Amy's at work right now, so she's probably not going to speak up too much, I don't imagine. So I like the slide. Let's put on the headphones and nobody knows what I'm listening to. And then Sherry, who is one of our admins for the mentorship, she and I met at a business conference about 3.5 years ago. And so I hired her shortly after because she's just an absolutely brilliant person when it comes to business and entrepreneurship. So she has become my very best friend in the world and also my business manager. And this show would not run without her, for sure. And Leanne, who just got back from vacation yesterday. I don't know if she's going to pop on here or not, but she's probably pretty tuckered out because she went to Universal Studios. And if any of you have been to Disney World, you know that place is exhaustingly fun. So,
hey Dakota.
Yeah.
I also want to clarify that this is my third year.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Too, so I'm actually a participant.
And Sherry started out as a complete newbie. When I told her what I did for a living, she's like, "You do what? What is that?"
I have no idea.
That is like a foreign language. And actually, so let me just touch on, Sherry, I'm going to pick on you for a second, if you don't mind. When Sherry and I met at a business conference, it was strictly like a very East direction business conference. It's very much about entrepreneurship and growing your business, your online business, etc. And Sherry was very much a visionary, and I have a lot of visionary in me as well. And that's the very analytical, work-driven, goal-driven, dream-driven soul archetype. And she just took the test again, and I told her all along, I said, I don't think you're really a visionary. I think you're really a Sacred Heart warrior, but you have used the visionary to kind of mask that. And that's what we do. We create a different soul archetype to stay small or stay hidden. And we hide behind that mask for a while. And so you just took the soul archetype test and found out, yes, indeed, you are a Sacred Heart warrior, and so now you're ready to jump off that diving board. Am I right?
Yes, it's been an amazing journey. I would have never thought. I just relayed something in our group yesterday that, you know, what you teach gives you back your own power in the sense. I don't know how to explain it because I didn't come from a world where I had any of this background at all.
Yeah.
And so once I started in the mentorship and the tools that you provide for us to find our own selves along the way, I just was so thankful yesterday that I had an experience that I would have never noticed. I would have just walked right through the whole experience. But now, since I've done this work, it's amazing how just things unfold, how just life unfolds. And yes, I
Yeah.
did take it, and you were right. I ended up in the Sacred Heart Warrior section. So that's great because we're heading into the South. So there's more work to do there.
Yes, exactly. And I love that because I see a lot of people who come into the mentorship as one soul archetype. And then as they start to do the work and start to really kind of transform and take off and peel back some of those layers and become and live more authentically, they realize that they are more of a different soul archetype that is more in alignment with their soul. And through that lens, just as Sherry was sharing, you begin having experiences that are more meaningful in your life, like what you shared yesterday. And I'm not going to share that experience that you had, but because we're like, there's going to be thousands of people who watch this. But it lends itself to just walking through life awake and awakened, and that's a beautiful place to be. Thanks for being here and for taking the test again. I love being right. All right, so Dave is asking over on YouTube. He started to do a meditation for about 3 weeks. After about 5 minutes, I get lightheaded and feel dizzy. Then I stop. What do I need to do to stop feeling lightheaded and dizzy? I'm not sure what meditation you're doing, if it involves breath work or not, Dave, but if it does involve breath work will make you feel a little lightheaded and it create what's called tetania, where you get a little bit of cramping in your extremities. And that is normal, but if it feels to be too much, then you can lighten the breath work. If it's not breath work that's causing this and it's just straight up meditation or guided meditation, then what I would say is to spend some time before your practice and really get grounded and to take the time to nurture the space ahead of time. Sometimes we go straight from full throttle to expecting our body and mind and spirit to stop and go into a meditative state, and it just sends everything into a whirlwind. So that's really, I think, a very important piece that people forget is that sacredness that goes into a meditation and coming out of it is being able to create that grounding again. When I do a lot of breath work, Sherry, I'm going to make you a moderator, and you can, yes. When I come out of doing breath work especially, but also oftentimes meditation, is the first thing I'll do is eat some grounding food. So either root vegetables, steak, chocolate. I'll go out and put my bare feet on the earth and, just kind of really spend some adequate time grounding myself. So that would be my suggestion to you, Dave, is to try those things ahead of time. And if it is breath work that you're doing, then just moderate your breath work a little bit. Maybe drop it down to a slower speed until you can get your body kind of acclimated to that. Here's a question that comes in. I am curious if soul archetypes connect at all with astrology. I'm a Sacred Heart Warrior and also a Cancer. Both are summer. I know there are different modalities, but I'm intrigued with any connection. I'm also a Cancer. I'm right on the cusp of Cancer Leo. And to be honest, I don't dabble in astrology very much. So I don't really, I'm not well versed in all of the signs. In fact, I can't even tell you, I'm really bad about sending birthday cards out. Really, really, really bad. But I do find sometimes that if you qualify a sign with an element, that you will be more comfortable in a certain direction. So Cancer is a water element, South is a water element. Air, I find, is visionary, and a lot of the air signs are also kind of in that springtime, I think. I can't remember all the astrology signs. But I don't know, honestly, if there is a direct correlation. There is a direct correlation to chakras and elements and all of that. I've got that divvied down. But maybe astrology, I should find somebody who's really well versed in astrology and have a little powwow with them. In fact, that reminds me, Sherry, remember the woman in California that I did the shaman short with, or the porch story? Oh, she would be fantastic to bring in, and we could flesh that out live. Here I'm creating a whole new scenario. She has no idea. Denise. You're gonna have to unmute yourself there. There you go.
In astrology, I think there would be overlaps.
Yes.
Like the south direction is water. Well, you have 3 water signs. You have Scorpio, which is in the fall. You have Cancer, and you have, what's the other water sign? There's another one. So Pisces, that's right. I'm reading Raven's lips. So, you know, that's about as much of the astrology. I mean, it just, there's overlapping things, but there, you know, there are people in this community that know astrology, they know numerology. I think you can find everything here because this is a community, and
it is definitely.
And that's really important to all of us. We love to laugh, but we take this work very seriously.
Yes, yes, we do. And, you know, and I love that we have such a diverse community, and everybody does have, you know, really a strong suit in something. And I'm constantly learning from you guys. So that's a good idea. We'll put that on the side burner to do a powwow with anybody who is well versed in this subject to come together, and let's fit it into the medicine wheel. And that's what I love about the medicine wheel, is that it is a fantastic container for understanding all kinds of things, including the experiences that we have in our life, the things that we do, the different modalities that we dip ourselves into, meditation practices, and even us as a personality, that we can really learn more about ourselves by looking at our lives through the lens of the medicine wheel, and really fine-tuning it to match where we are, but also where we want to go, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Dave, I hope I answered your question. Are there any other questions I'm missing over there in YouTube land? We got Chicago there, and yes, chocolate. Yes, and Paula's saying that chocolate gives her a head buzz, a head body buzz. And that is another thing that I want to touch on, actually, is that so often we fall into that trap of, well, so-and-so said this, so it must be true. And what I'd love for most people, not most, all people, to get used to is fit it to you and what feels right for you. And not just because I say something, or not just because Eckhart Tolle says something, or Oprah says something, or like how I lump myself in with all these big people. Hey, what just happened there, Sherry? Somebody, actually here. There we go. I don't know if there's a way to stop that, Sherry, from
I'm not sure. I'll look into it.
Okay. Anyway, sorry, somebody was sharing their screen there for a second. But the whole thing that we can fall into is that we believe verbatim that what somebody says is what I should be doing, instead of like taking something and letting it inspire what is true for you. And I think that's really important piece and element for all of us to really grab onto, that, yeah, chocolate may work for me, but it may not work for you. It doesn't work for Paula. So you've got to find what works for you. And that's what I love about the medicine wheel, is here's a framework that you can use. And I'm gonna give you some ideas of how that might work for, in most general terms, but you need to personalize it for you and make it relevant to your life, because we don't live the same life. We don't see things through the same filters. We've had different experiences. We have different interpretations. I love that we are all so unique in that way, and yet we're also connected. I did a live retreat a couple of years ago, and we were out teaching people how to do soul tracking, which is really finding how to see the messages all around us from our spirit guides. And we stopped at this tree, and there was this very large marking on the tree. It was a scar. And I had 10 people with me. And I said, I just want all 10 of you to just look at this marking on this tree and interpret it to what it might mean for you. And then we went through, and each of the 10 people who saw the exact same thing, there were 10 very, very different interpretations. One, it reminded her of the healing of the vagina, and she was going through healing a rape that she had gone through. Another person saw the strength of the tree and how it was able to live and survive that wound. And, we had 10 different interpretations, but it was the exact same thing. We all saw the same scenario. And so I implore that to you guys, because the power that we have in interpreting our own story and our own answers cannot be stressed enough. That, yeah, I'm here to give you a framework, and I give you a lot of information, and you need to really sift through that and feel into what is really true for you. I hope that makes sense. I'm looking over in YouTube. I've just gotten interested in who is Nadia Shah or Lada Duncheva collaboration with me in the future. We're gonna have to talk. I'm gonna have to find out who those people are. And Romania, awesome. What am I missing over here? What about roaches in my apartment? Can medicine wheel help with that, since they carry disease and all? So Sam, I would say, well, first of all, get your cats going. They got a job to do. When it comes to animals, and this includes bugs, it includes insects, anything that's a sentient being, they all have messages for us. So I'd find out what the message is for you. If you have something that's consistently showing up time and time again, you want to definitely, one, recognize that that is a message being sent to you. And until you get that message, it's going to keep showing up. So, and sometimes we get really grossed out by mice or roaches or ants or whatever. They actually have really, really powerful messages. The message of the roach, you have to interpret it for yourself, but in my interpretation, it is one of resilience, strength, determination. Nothing will kill it. So it is indestructible. If anything's going to survive a nuclear attack, it's going to be a roach. And so maybe bringing that message into your life, like where can you be more resilient, more strong, and where something that may be trying to destruct you, how can you manage your way through that? So really finding out what that message is for you. Sherry, do we have any other questions that I'm missing?
We do. We have a couple.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, Wendy's on here. Hi, Wendy, but she has to go to work.
All right. The first one says, I want to change things in my life, but it feels so exhausting sometimes. I think I heal one area, and then other things happen, like I lose my job. How can someone like me, who's a single mom, working nonstop, barely having time to breathe, make time for something like this?
Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one. Do you mind typing that into the chat box, just so that I can read that again? How many of you feel like time is accelerating? Like, and the truth is, it actually really scientifically has accelerated. And we're really finding that there's just so much stimuli in the world around us. We are bombarded with information now because we have at our fingertips everything that's happening in the world simultaneously in the moment. And we're daunted with it. We have, just your social media feeds and the news cycle and everything that's going on right now. And there's just so much energy. It's like we're all in this vortex of really, and I see over here Ramika is saying something about vertigo. It's very much like that. It's like we're all in this cycle of vertigo, and so much happening that it is exhausting because our energy is just pouring out of us. And in that, if we don't take the time to do soul growth and soul discovery and really tapping into what is it that keeps me alive, what keeps me feeling joy, what keeps me being authentic and truthful and living my purpose, if we don't take the time for that, then our energy just is going to continue to pour out. We're going to continually be exhausted. And so really it's about making priorities. And that's easier said than done, especially when you are a single mom and you have to go to work and you have to do, come home and do the laundry and fix the meals and get ready for school the next day and get ready for your own work. And yeah, it is exhausting. If you take even 10 minutes out of that day, and then the next day you take 15, and then the next day you take 20, and slowly start to feed into your soul, get back a little bit of that energy that you have depleted that day, then you stand the chance of being able to get on top of it or get on the other side of it. When you get in that vortex, though, and you find yourself drowning in it, there's one thing that I know about the universe, and I know this for a certainty because it's happened to me time and time again, is that when you don't take care of yourself, when you don't take the time to tend to those soul needs, the universe will create the space in your life to do so, like losing a job or losing a relationship or losing something. It will make you sick so that you have to be in bed for a week. The universe will balance itself out through your life however it needs to. And when you aren't addressing the imbalance, then you will be stuck with this scenario that is going to force your hand. So if you've lost your job, what I would say is that probably the universe is saying, you know what, that job is killing you. And you need to find either a job that you are passionate about, or you need to find jockey step to a job where you have more time to work on yourself so that you can get on the other side of this. And it feels absolutely daunting in those moments. And it's very hard. And this is one thing I do love, and I'm going to plug the mentorship right here, because the one aspect of the mentorship that goes without being, if you're not in it, you won't understand this to its full completion, is that the support of the community is absolutely vital. It takes a tribe to sometimes get through this. And we absolutely have that. And I want some of the people on the mentorship to speak into this, because coming out of my mouth is just like, hang on just a second, Denise. If I'm saying it, it's like me trying to plug the mentorship. And yeah, I am, because I really believe in it. This is my life work. I've put my heart and energy into this, and we're on year 4, and we have people who just won't leave, which I love. Some of them are on here now. But what has one of the biggest factors of the mentorship and why it's so successful is the community of people and the support that they have for one another, and just the love. You lost your job, you come into the community and you say, you guys, I am really struggling. I am really struggling. And within 30 seconds, I guarantee you, there's going to be somebody who steps in and says, hey, I'm here. Do you need to talk? Or, hey, I'm here. We're here supporting you. We're holding that space for you. My peeps know that they don't fix each other. They don't give each other advice. They hold the space for one another. Denise?
I also wanted to say, oh, is there an echo?
Is there? Okay. I don't know how to fix that. If you have YouTube up, turn it off.
So one of the things with being in the mentorship is that even though it's structured, it isn't structured so rigidly that a person who has a very full life already can't fit in. You don't have to get things done exactly in 1 week. You know, you can do part of it and then catch up later. There's always time to catch up. So it isn't like you're adding more stress. What you're adding is less stress. And I do believe, Dakota, don't you have, you know, some scholarships for people? There are different, don't you have different programs to help people out, or do you have to be in the mentorship more than a year? I don't know. You had something.
Well, yeah, we stopped doing scholarships, and I'll tell you why. Because when there's not an investment of, you know, and I always find this financially, if somebody's given something to them for free, they don't appreciate it and they don't put the work in. We've have given countless scholarships, and every single one of them never followed through. And it became really a disservice to the people who were contributing to the scholarships. But we do have several ways to come into the mentorship. We actually offer several different payment plans so that it does meet people where they are and make it easier for people to join.
Well,
but I love what you're saying, huh?
I was just going to say, that being said, I mean, I didn't have the money available to do the second year, but I trusted. It's a strange thing to trust in that way, because
yes.
you got to eat, you got to pay bills, you have to do all these things. But I trusted, and sure enough, something happened that I have the money to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a strange thing.
It is a strange thing, but it does work. When you make that step towards
commitment,
towards you make that investment in yourself, that's the best investment you'll ever make. The return on that is astronomical. I was going to say extraordinary, and astronomical kind of came in there. So
you made a new word.
I made a new word. Thanks for sharing that, Denise. Amy?
I just wanted to say, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that there is work, but I found that even if there were tasks that I wasn't able to like complete, it changed my way of thinking. Like I thought about it. And maybe I didn't do the workbook or wrote it down, but the fact was that it infused my brain and I was able to think about it. And those little shifts added up. Even if it wasn't completing the work, it was just a new thought process, a new questioning, a new way to view things that I had never experienced before. And that was very influential.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. And
we're
I always
becoming new people. We're not the same people that we were when we started out. We're new people. It's amazing. You don't think that.
Shane, I'm gonna interject something here, Denise. You're not a new person. You are a refined person that's been polished, like your true self coming out. It's
polished.
Yeah, and it's it's transforming all these experiences in our life that that we thought were horrible, and making them into to the alchemy that we go through to really become who we are, the undoing to become. Betty?
I just wanted to speak into the community and how wonderful this tribe is. And I wanted to share a quick experience. I remember, Dolly, I think it was a year ago, you guys probably remember, I was interviewing for a job that I thought would be my dream job, and I wanted it so bad. And when I realized I wasn't going to get it, I ended up on one of our calls just bawling in front of everyone because I thought my world was over and it was never going to happen. But this tribe surrounded me and loved me and let me cry and all that kind of stuff. And I ended up, that job wasn't what I needed. It wasn't the best for me. The universe knew, I just didn't. But this tribe gave me the ability to see past my disappointment and into the opportunities that were still available for me. So I just wanted to share that there's no other tribe like this.
Yeah, It is really unique. I've been in a lot of group settings that have had communities. In fact, I'm in 2 of them right now, and it just is not the same. It's the level of compassion and love. I can't pinpoint it exactly. Like, why is this so different than other places that I've been? But it is. It really is different, and I appreciate that so much. How are we on questions, Sherry? I have not even been paying attention over here in YouTube land.
I think Raven has her hand raised.
Raven.
Thank you. Yeah, I just really quickly wanted to say something about the tribe because I just got here. I just signed up for all of this, and these have got to be the friendliest, most helpful group of people. I mean, I've been a lot of groups, but I've been looking for an online tribe because I'm not very good at like Facebook and YouTube and stuff. I get on there and then I feel kind of in outer space because nobody ever answers any of my questions or calls or or anything. But this group, they are on it and they are helpful, and I just feel part of a family, and I'm amazed that could happen that fast. I mean literally it's been like a week, so I just wanted to pipe in on that.
Thank you for that. They are. I trust this community explicitly. And some of you who are new to the mentorship got a video from me. And I think I mentioned in there, if you need anything, go to the community and you're going to find somebody who's going to be there for you if I can't answer it. Kaya?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, I just want to thank you so much for letting me be a part of the tribe. And I'm really an introvert, but here I am, right here
Yes.
in the tribe. And it's the first time that I've showed my silly face. But yeah, I love the people in the tribe. And I loved you, Dakota. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. That really means a lot to me. And Kaya, I never thought I would see Kaya on one of the calls, and we had that discussion because she is an introvert, and that's okay. There's some people who we have. There's probably a good 40% of the people who you will never see on the calls or in the Slack community. They're in the background doing their own work at their own pace. And so I thought Kaya was going to be part of that 40%, and here she is, stepping up and being brave. And that's part of it, is just being brave and getting out of our comfort zone where we just get complacent and we think this is the way it has always been, so this is the way it will always be. But and when you have and I think this is true, what Kaya might be experiencing is when you have a group that supports you where you are without any preconceived judgment or idea of what you should be, then you're given that space to really become what it is that you need to be or can be. Sherry.
We have one question over on YouTube, and then I have a private question that just came in. But the YouTube one came in first. And can you read that one about it's from Romika.
Romika? I want to heal the vertigo in my health. How can I heal? I feel ungrounded and have fears due to ill health for many years. Okay, so when we're looking at the medicine wheel, health issues, physical body, all of that resides in the west direction. And the west direction is where we have manifested in our lives whatever seeds we have planted over in the east and whatever we have nurtured in the south. And so the east are ideas, our dreams, our vision, our inspirations, our sacred purpose. It's where we feed our self-esteem. And so often we have these experiences in our life that have set the seeds. So child abuse or lack of abundance, all of these different seeds that we plant in our life that then we come down into the south and we form relationships and emotional reactions that begin nurturing those seeds. And if we don't heal them, then what happens is they go over into the west and they manifest themselves in either health, illness, disease, space that we don't love to live in, or cluttered space, or addictions, all these different ways that they fester and manifest over here. And so the best way you can heal symptoms, you can, take a pill or do something that's going to create health in your world. You can change your diet, you can change the way you do things, etc. And that's going to work for a little while. But if you don't heal the original wound, the core component of what created that illness to begin with, then it will keep coming back, or it will manifest in a different way. And so it's really super important to figure out where did that vertigo, what is the original wound that vertigo created. And sometimes you'll know right away what it is. Other times you have to do a little investigating and trace it back to, when did the vertigo start? When did my health start to take a downturn? Or what emotions, or what does my gut say about what could be producing or creating that for me, that experience in my life? And that's the path to true healing, is going back to that original wound and figuring out really what is the lesson in that. Why did I have that experience? What did I learn from it? Because that was the piece that got lost in translation. If we take a bad experience and we think, oh, poor me, I was bullied in high school. This is from my own experience. There's two ways I could have lived my life. In high school, I was severely bullied all through, actually, elementary school, junior high, and high school, because I was different. I didn't fit in. And I could have taken that experience and made myself a victim, and then created this scenario where every relationship that I brought into my life supported that idea of being bullied. And then I could say, oh, poor me, I always am in this situation. Or I lost my job because I was gay. And that was actually true. I did lose a job because my boss was homophobic. And then I could come over to the West, and if I hadn't really figured that whole cycle out, then I would come over here into the West, and I would probably have severe allergies. I would probably have asthma. I could probably have produced cancer because of resentment. So there's a whole slew of health issues that I could have created. Rewind. I was severely bullied in high school and in elementary school. I had no friends really when I was growing up. I was isolated and I was alone a lot. Come down into the South. I've learned to be independent, almost to a fault. So I've had to backtrack and say, okay, I need to be interdependent. I needed to have some relationships and really be able to trust some people. I trusted my grandpa, I trusted my parents, I trusted my family. I really learned that empathic muscle. I am really good at empathy. I can feel what that feels like because I've had that experience. I learned to listen to my intuition. I know now when somebody comes into my life, what my gut tells me before they even speak a word, if I can trust them, or what they're here for, or what the lesson might be, or what they might need. I have learned to really love people unconditionally where they are. I really don't feel that I have a prejudiced bone in my body. I think everybody is a unique expression of God. And all of that are the seeds that I chose to plant out of that experience of being bullied. And so now you come over here into the West direction, I'm really healthy. I am the healthiest person that I know. I can't even tell you the last time that I was sick. And I'm not saying that to gloat or to be whatever. It's just, that's my truth. I just don't get sick. I am extremely healthy. I'm living in Ohio right now. When I was a kid, I had the worst allergies imaginable. Like I couldn't walk outside without running eyes and nose and sneezing. I'm fine. I have absolutely no allergies now while I'm here. And so that's kind of how we go back to that cycle and figure out, yeah, I could go this way or I could take this route. And I chose this route. But when you're living an unconscious life, you oftentimes take this route, and you come over here into the West and you look at it from a different perspective and say, oh, I'm sick. I can't do this because I'm sick. I can't. And then it becomes your excuse for not living full out. And I don't say that to dismiss anybody who's experiencing health issues, because there are a lot of people who are challenged by their health, and I have great empathy for that. And I hope that I can inspire kind of a three-prong effort here. Yeah, change the diet, change whatever you can naturally to help eliminate the symptoms, but also go back to the emotional component. Also go back and look at, how did that get planted in my life? And how can I change that and learn from that and make it something different? Because you have that power. You absolutely have that power. I worked for many years in holistic medicine, and I saw people at their sickest moments. And that was actually what propelled me to move to here, because I was helping them in their west direction, but I really wanted to meet them here over in the east and the south and the north before it ever got to that manifestation point. So Rameka, you're asking, can you help me with it? Will the program help me? And how do you get to the root cause? Yes, and yes, is that the medicine wheel, what I just explained in like my process, that was all working with the medicine wheel. It was not looking at it from such an overwhelming perspective, a 10,000 foot perspective, and saying this whole blanket thing like, I am so sick, blah. But it's really taking it back. And that's why we do one direction at a time. Is we go into the south direction, we are focused now in the south direction, but what gets really healed are the other three directions, because we're so focused on working on this emotional body right now. And we take it in chunks and we really dial it back so that it's manageable, because the truth is we're all very busy. We all have a lot going on. There's a lot of distraction in our life. And if you can take, and I think, Amy kind of touched on this a little bit, is that just by looking at, okay, this is the theme for the week, let me just have that seed planted in my mind and become more aware of it in my life. And wow, what a difference just that makes. And if that's all you have time for, I guarantee you you're still going to have an experience of transformation through that just very small thing. Sorry, I get long-winded here. Sherry?
Rameka, we'll put, after this goes live, when we're done, we'll put the contact information over here.
Yeah, and
web information.
Really quickly, because I know people like to multitask while they're on webinars. You can go to dakotaearthcloud.com, and on that front page there is a outline of what we do in the south direction. There's also a link to go look at the mentorship and get started on that. It's really a powerful program, and I think it's a testament that there are quite a few students who are here, and also quite a few who have been here for a long time. Denise, and then Sherry again.
One of the things that I would like to say about what you were just talking about is that, and you can do many things. I'm in healthcare, so I look at natural health. I look at natural health, but that doesn't mean I don't do the medicine wheel. I'm very serious about the medicine wheel. And when I do so much of the medical health and it's not going anywhere, then I know that it has an emotional component. But that doesn't mean I don't explore that avenue. You can do many things at one time. It isn't like you have blinders on and I'm just going to do the medicine wheel. It may have worked for you, but it doesn't work that way for me. It's like, okay, I have vertigo. Okay, I've got to figure out, the neural pathways. I've got to figure out that, but I also apply it to the medicine wheel.
Exactly.
So I do this over here, but it always comes back to the medicine wheel. Because it just makes sense.
Well, and you make a great point here, Denise, and I'll share too. When you're the medicine wheel, what we aspire to is to be in the center of the medicine wheel, or we can pull the energy from every direction simultaneously as we need it. And I'll give an example. When I went from living in Arizona to South Carolina. In my first year there, I developed some really serious asthma. And I was working in a doctor's office, and this is an absolute 100% true story. I all my life was, working and living in the spiritual realm. And when I moved to South Carolina, I wanted to have the stability of having a constant paycheck while I developed my own business clientele there in South Carolina. And so I worked in this doctor's office, which is way different than what I'm used to. And really, for a lot of standards, medicine and I don't resonate very well. And I started getting asthma, and I got to the point where I couldn't walk 4 or 5 steps without breathing. And so in the medicine wheel, I didn't just go to the directions, the emotional component and all that. I did, but I also got breathing treatments, and I also got an inhaler. And then I started to take there's some medicine to kind of eliminate the symptoms, because I was so exhausted from not being able to breathe that I couldn't focus on anything else. So I had to do something physically to eliminate the symptoms so that I could do the others. And so the part of the story that most people look at me like, you did what? Is one day I put all the pieces together. I was living in a place that was very, very oppressive for somebody like me, who was very spiritually aligned, who was gay, who has always lived their life doing outdoor activities and et cetera, et cetera. And here I was living in this place that by all measures, I was known as the witch doctor in Charleston. And there was no gay people. There was all of this stuff. And so I walked into my doctor's office because he wanted to treat me with just medical. Oh, you need this. Oh, you need this. Oh, you need this. And he listed all these medicines. And I said, you know what I need? I need a community. I need to be outside doing stuff. I need to tap back into my spiritual life. I can't breathe because I don't have no life to breathe. And I went on this whole rampage, and I just resigned the fact that I was going to get fired that day. And I went through all of this. He was this older white man, and he was sitting behind his desk with his arms crossed, and I'm just, cursing and crying and telling him all this stuff. And you don't understand. This is what I need. You want to fix me with this, and this is the reason why I can't breathe, and blah, blah, blah. And at the end of my tirade, which took about 10 minutes, and he looked at me and he was just stunned. And his answer was, would you like me to prescribe you an antidepressant? And I just looked at him and I said, you've got to be effing kidding me. That's your answer, is another pill? And he and I just clashed, and I called Dr. Broody. I was working with Dr. Broody at the time. He was my mentor, and I told him the whole scenario, and he says, I knew you'd get fired from that job. And I said, yeah. But I actually went in the next day, and I told the doctor, I said, I'm just going to look for another place to work. And he begged me to stay, which really surprised me. He was willing to double my salary to stay. And that was when the universe was testing me. What's more important to you? Not being able to breathe and working in a place that you don't believe in, or trusting and going out? And I ended up saying, no, and I opened up my own office and took the plunge and became very successful there in Charleston as the witch doctor. So to answer the question, sometimes you do need to take the inhaler or the shot or the medicine if that's what it takes to get you clear enough and strong enough to dip into the other side. Sherry.
Okay, there's a message in there in the chat box, but I want to go ahead and post this private message because it's come in a while back. So let me post it and you can read it. And then we'll go back to Sam.
Okay. Let's see. This one is, I already know this is the next step in my life. I've been told that I don't know myself, and on some level I believe this. I'm a suicide survivor. I guess my question is this: would starting with my archetype be the best place to start? Are the classes only open for enrollment during the time of the wheel with the archetype? Well, first of all, whoever wrote this, you have a leg up because you called yourself a survivor and not a victim. That's huge right there. And I always say, and I really believe this, and I think those who are on the mentorship will attest to this, that this kind of a program comes when you need it. And it shows up on your doorstep when you are ready for it. And which is one of the reasons why we don't do scholarships anymore. And it's another reason why we don't do gift certificates, because whoever is taking it needs to, one, be at that place where they're ready to open the door and greet them, to greet yourself. And so there is no right place for everybody to start on the wheel. I would never say everybody needs to start in the north and go boom, 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 boom. We've had some people who will start in the south, drop off in the west, resume in the north, and then, you know, come back and do the cycle again and again until they get all the directions, and then they do what they need. Your soul archetype really, and this is I'm going to try to condense this into a nutshell. Your soul archetype is how you see the world, and it's how you experience life, and it's how you learn, it's how you are in relationship. If you're a visionary, you are driven by goals and your dreams and your ideas and being inspired. You're inspired by vocabulary and communication. You probably read a lot. You probably have a plethora of books, and you are insatiable in learning. If you're a Sacred Heart warrior, you want to experience passion about something. You want to soak it all in and feel the emotions that something brings to you. You're very much led by your intuition. Relationships are very important to you. And you have this capacity within you to see life from the lens of, does this feel good? Is it vibrant? Does it make me come alive? Does it inspire me to be creative? And so it's very fluid. And so because of that, when you come into the mentorship, it doesn't matter what your soul archetype is. Your soul archetype is how you're going to experience the transformation in your life, and how you're going to, and like Sherry, you may come in as one soul archetype, and then as you start to polish that armor off of yourself, you may discover that all along you have been hiding this aspect of yourself for one reason or another. And there's a lot of reasons why we hide who we ultimately or intimately are. And so it doesn't matter where you come in to the wheel. I would say that if you're here right now and you're not in the mentorship, that you're probably drawn to this right now because you've gotten to a place in your life where you're ready for change. You're ready to step up the game and make some significant strides towards living a more authentic, truthful life. And whoever wrote this question, you kind of touched on that right there, that you've been told that you don't know yourself, and on some level you believe this. One, I would say, feel into that what feels true to you and not what everybody else is saying. And sometimes we get to the brink of death. I tried to commit suicide 3 times when I was in high school because I was bullied so much. I just didn't want to live. I tried 3 times, and those were the best 3 failures I've ever had in my life, was failing at dying. And I think now, and I look at what I do for a living, and that brink of death is what took me to where I am right now. I wouldn't be doing this, I don't think, if I didn't have those experiences in high school and in those formative years when, you really need community and friendships and things like that. I don't think that I would be where I am now. And if I wasn't, then I wouldn't be doing this webinar. I wouldn't have, 1.6 million people listening to my meditations on YouTube. I wouldn't have all these people on Insight Timer who are listening to my meditations. I wouldn't have all these people in the mentorship. I wouldn't be making my mark in the world. And so I say that to this person that you survived suicide because there's something here for you to do. And you have to discover what is your mark in the world. And your mark isn't defined by anybody else but you. It's not defined by me. It's not defined by your parents, by your teachers, by your kids, by your spouse, by anybody but you. It's not defined by your job. And so I just think that people are given the opportunities as they need them. I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but anybody who's on the mentorship, raise your hand if it showed up right when you were ready for it. Yeah. And that has been really kind of par for course, that's if you're not strong enough, it won't be here for you. You wouldn't be attracted to it. And classes are only open for enrollment during the time of the wheel with the archetype. Yes, we only open enrollment 4 times a year. I thought about changing that, and then my beautiful business partner said, no, you cannot change that. And actually, I really kind of agree with that there's really a lot of power in knowing that you're starting something and that you have this amount of time to work on something specific, that piece of the pie, and that you're doing it in conjunction with a group of people who are also doing the same thing in their own way. There's a lot of power in that. And because when you feel like you're lagging, you've got 60 to 100 other people who are right behind you doing it also, and in that momentum pushing you forward. And sometimes you're helping push somebody else forward. So yeah, it only opens 4 times a year, and actually it closes in Sunday at midnight Eastern Standard Time, whatever that is. What is today? Friday. Kaya.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to put in there, you know this, Dakota, but the rest of the tribe does not, that I have emphysema, and I also have AFib, and this is literally saving my life because I was on oxygen for a long time, and now I just use my inhalers and my pill, and I can breathe pretty good most of the time. My oxygenation is a lot better. I have one of those little oximeter things, and it's doing great. And when my AFib starts bothering me, I just meditate, and I meditate several times in a row, and it settles my heart rate down, and it starts breathing evenly. And so it's literally saving my life. And I also am a suicide survivor. And I just wanted to get that in there because you brought that up. And this is the best thing that ever happened to me, really, saving my life.
Oh, thank you. So when were you able to go off of oxygen and just go to an inhaler?
About 2 months ago.
Wow. And so what did you actually start 2 months ago? Was that when you started doing the meditations from Gaia?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that just makes me feel really...
The breathing exercises, all deep breathing. So I decided to be mindful, and I check my breath all day long, and I always breathe into my belly, and it keeps me mindful as well as keeping me alive. So
that is just beautiful. Wow. Thank you for that. That's a great testament. And a testament to your power that so here you are, Kaya, at this place in your life where you're dependent on an oxygen tank. You've gotten these diagnoses, extreme introvert, and you and I know the conversations that you and I have had over email leading up to today. And here you are, just having done meditations. We haven't even started class yet in the mentorship. You're in the mentorship, but you haven't even started class yet. And you're already off oxygen. You've changed your life. You're showing up here on camera. You're talking to the community. You're talking to lots of people. And that's just one fraction of the potential that you're about to step into.
Oh, I can't wait.
I know. Me either. I can't wait either. But that is you stepping into your power.
Yes.
And breathing that in. But you're receptive to it. You know, and I'm very clear about that too, that I'm here to provide that container in the space, but you're the one doing the work. You're the one who is out there making that conscious effort to be mindful of your breath. You're the one who's making the effort to do the meditations. You're the one who is taking in that information and deciding what to do with it. That's you. That's not me.
Well, I want to thank you anyway, because I'm very grateful. And to all of you.
Yeah.
For supporting me.
I'm grateful for you being here, and that your bravery is coming to life, and your life. I know. Some days I am too.
To be on camera with just my 10 teeth.
You know, the first time I ever did a live video that was going to be published, and this was not that long ago, this was only a couple of years ago. In fact, it was at the business conference that Sherry and I went to. One of the assignments was go out on break and make a 5-minute video that you can share with your people and your business. And I videotaped and erased, videotape, erase, videotape, you know, I did this. I recorded it probably 15 times. And then the last time I was like, you know, screw it. I'm so tired of talking. I'm just going to put this up. And that was my very first time of doing the video stuff. And it was so scripted. And I just, you know, I wrote everything out like I had to sit there and read it. And now it's just like, whatever. And you're going to be like that too at the end of 9 weeks. And these guys who are on the mentorship, you know, I don't want to be on camera. And sometimes they come in and they don't be on camera. They're just, you just see their name. And by the end of the 9 weeks, people are showing up in their pajamas and no makeup and eating food.
I do have my pajamas on.
And it's okay. We all are there. Thank you for sharing that, Kaya.
Thank you.
Sherry?
I just want to make sure you didn't pass over Sam's question there. And then there was a question about the workbook that just came in. So.
Okay, let's see here. So are we to move eastbound in cyclical fashion in this medicine wheel to heal ourselves past emotions, TBIs, and other traumas, or is it more of an intuitive movement? Well, what we do, Sam, is we go through the directions by way of the seasons. So right now we're in summer, so we're in south direction, at least north of the hemisphere. We have a lot of Australians who are on the mentorship, and they're actually in the north direction, but they work in conjunction with each other. So north-south is very complementary to each other, so is east-west. In the fall, we will move over to the alchemist direction. In the winter, we'll go up to the north into the soul shaman. And then east is springtime. We just finished east, so we go into the visionary. But when we're in a direction, so just because we're going into the south direction doesn't mean that all the other directions just turn off and we don't pay any attention to them. In fact, during the live calls on Thursdays, we alternate each week with a workshop, and that's where we kind of bring in what's happening with the other directions. Like, okay, we're working in our relationships in the south direction, but how do we pull the east in? We pull that in through sacred communication and through the visionary experiences love in a very different way. So understanding that. Or relationship in the west would be, what are you physically doing in your surroundings with the people that you love? How are you in relationship to the person at the store or to the each other in the community? And how are you bringing in the north? How are you bringing your spiritual life into that relationship to make it more sacred? So we're always working all the directions simultaneously. We just happen to be kind of, we're melted into the south right now. We're utilizing that energy because it's potent right now to be working in the other directions. And if you join as a wisdom keeper, which is the year-long journey, and you actually get a lot of bonus courses and you get a huge savings on the mentorship in general if you join as a wisdom keeper. We have a monthly workshop that we do for wisdom keepers where we really dig into all of the directions simultaneously for one different theme. We have a call coming up this Sunday, and we're going to really dip into the emotional body, but we're going to bring in all of the directions to work with that energy. And we do that because the wisdom keepers, a lot of them have been through many directions, and so they're still bringing in all of those different elements from the different directions that they've learned. I hope that answered your question. Hang on just a second, Denise. What else am I missing here, Sherry?
There's the very last, at the very bottom. Sharon had a.
Oh, okay.
But you can
I just got the Sacred Heart Warrior workbook. Can you do some work on your own and start mentorship at a later time? Yes, you can. And actually, this workbook, and I don't have, you know what I find very ironic is that, okay, so everybody's got the workbook before I do. I ordered it too, and I don't have my own copy yet. So they've got, so these, each direction I put out a workbook. And in the past, here's where I was naive.
Did you give them the new address?
What's that?
Did you give them your new address?
Yeah, but you know what I did? It's because I ordered the author copy, and so they give the author copy. I get it for a lot cheaper, and so that's my that's my fault. Anyway, I made these workbooks for the people in the mentorship, and so it was very directed towards them, like notes, you know, live note calls and exercises and things like that. And then I started realizing that a lot of people were buying the workbooks who weren't in the mentorship. And so I started to shift it. And so this next, the one that is out now, the Sacred Heart Warrior, it is very much geared towards anybody can use it. And I love it because it's got 12 weeks, not just the 9 weeks, because really a direction is 12 weeks long. And when you're in the mentorship, we try to get people to sign up early so that you have momentum going into those 9 weeks. So there's a couple of weeks ahead of time. South Direction opened up on the 21st, and you've got meditations. We've got a pre-course for you. We've got an introduction to the medicine wheel. But there's also time and space to kind of flesh out what your goals are for that direction. And then we go through the 9 weeks, and then we have a week of kind of recapping and assimilating and all of that before another direction starts. And so the workbook this time, I've created those 12 weeks long, and it's set up like a day timer, but it's very intentional for the South energy. And so every workbook is driven by the energy of that direction. And the visionary, it was a lot about goal setting and, very linear. It satisfies the visionary inside each of us that likes those little lists and how to track things and et cetera. I also, in all of the workbooks, we always have South energy in there because I like for people to color and doodle. So they will have pictures in there that you can, like the coloring book that you can do, because that's a great meditative form that you can participate in. And I think Sherry put the link to the Amazon link in YouTube. Do you mind putting that in the, and she did, in Zoom also. Denise?
When you were talking about we're in the South direction and we're using all of the other directions, I just didn't want anybody to get overwhelmed with this, thinking that you have to know everything right away, because eventually you will think like the medicine wheel.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I'm in the South, but I had to go over there to the West to do a little health thing, and I had to I initiated something in the East, and I'm so mental. That's so East, and I got to meditate more. And
Yeah.
but you will actually, it won't be long when you're actually thinking like the medicine wheel.
Exactly.
The focus now is south direction, but you can't do
Yeah.
the south direction unless you're pulling in the energy from all of the directions.
Exactly. And a lot of times we are intuitively doing that anyway. We are, and the beauty of the medicine wheel is that once you understand how the directions are at play, you're like, oh, I've been doing that my entire life. Okay, that makes sense now. And it's those little aha moments that also remind us that this stuff. We all have this knowledge within us, this wisdom locked away inside of us. And this is about really unlocking it so that we can utilize that power. We're really no different from each other. Sherry? Oh, no? Do we have any other questions that I'm missing?
Yeah, here's one that just we're hitting the hour mark, past the hour mark. So I'm going to toss this next one in, but I thought it was interesting. One second.
Okay, this one is, I found you on Insight Timer and have been following your work for years and consider myself one of your groupies. How is the mentorship different than all the free content you provide on your website? I'm thinking of joining, but financially it's a struggle. Well, thanks. I like having groupies. I think. And thank you for Insight. How many of you are from Insight Timer originally? Okay, a few of you. Insight Timer is a great meditation app. I've been with them since their inception. And so what's different than the free content, because I do provide a lot of free content on my website and on YouTube and on Insight Timer and on Mind Bliss too. I'm also on their meditation app. And the reason that I create free content is because we're not always at a place where we can, what's that clicking sound? I think I fixed it. We're not always at a place where we can just hop in and make it work. So I try to give people enough to at least get you started on something. What I don't do in my free content is I don't give you the full context of the medicine wheel because it's so expansive that it would just be impossible to do that. And that is one of the reasons why so many people stay on the mentorship, because it just keeps unlayering and there's just more and more and more and more. And the more you go into it, the deeper you go into it. We're going 5 miles deep. We're not going 5 miles wide. And the free content goes 5 miles wide. I'm giving you a fraction of what is underneath that iceberg. And so it's enough to kind of get you curious and get you asking questions in your own life. What I find too is that people get to a place where they start, and if you took the free course that we just did, I touched on this, where we have 3 states of being: unconscious, conscious, and awakened. And a lot of people live in that unconscious state. And I'm going to show you how that looks in context of the medicine wheel. In the east direction, it's when you're told you're too confident or you're not confident enough. You talk too much. You don't talk enough. You dream too much, or your dreams are never going to amount to anything. Those are just crazy dreams. Those are stupid ideas. You'll never make it. You'll never amount to anything. Or take this job because that's what's going to pay the bills. Or take this job because it's going to make you secure, because you're going to have pension, you're going to have insurance. If we go into the south direction, it's where we're looking for validation outside of our relationships. You find a partner who's going to support you. You're too emotional. You're too provocative. She shouldn't have dressed that way or said that thing, or she shouldn't have drank that much. And that's why she had what had coming to her. You won't make it without help. Don't trust your gut. You're too wishy-washy. I don't trust you. You know, we're told all these things. In the West direction, it's here's a pill to fix that. Here's a new diet that's going to make you not so fat. Here's a new exercise that's going to tone up those flabby muscles. Here's this new gadget that's going to make your life easier. Buy this, buy that, buy this brand so that you have this affluent appeal. We live in a materialistic world. You're defined by what you own as the definition of your success. When we go to the north direction, it's follow this path, or this church is the way to heaven, or you're going to go to hell because you believe that. And now what's happening, and this is a whole other topic, are the gurus. We've got John of God and Muji, who just this last year, these are two very, very big gurus in the spiritual world who now are facing indictment for really just tremendous abuse, sexual abuse, all kinds of abuse that has happened under their watch. And so we have this dysfunctional wheel that has happened, and what falls in there too, and I'm going to touch this because you financially are struggling, is that when we live in that unconscious world, we struggle a lot. We struggle with having a healthy self-esteem. We struggle with really following our dreams and listening to our own voice instead of the voice of everybody else. We struggle in our relationships of really being interdependent and being vulnerable and being authentic, because there's fear and there's this line that gets drawn between two people that says I'm this and you're that, and there's this judgment. And then we go into the West and we have this lack mentality because we don't own these things that define our success, or we pour our money into areas that are satisfying an itch, but they're not curing the original wound. You know, we throw money into a new outfit because this is going to make me feel better about myself. We throw it into a new diet because that's what I've been told will make me lose weight and make me look better, because I have to fit into this definition of what beauty is. I'm going to throw my money into this activity because I want to feel young again, and I want to have this idea that I am this, and I fit this illusion. And so we go through this whole wheel and this dysfunction, but what we forget is that we are divine humans, and we can manifest and have manifested every single thing in our lives with either intention or setting the seed that was unconsciously set. So everything, if you look around in your surroundings, including your physical body and your health and your mindset and everything, you have manifested every single thing in your life by planting a seed. And so if you instead shift your awareness and say, I'm going to focus on me, I'm going to listen to my voice, I'm going to follow my dream, I'm going to set the intention that I am abundant in all of these areas. I'm abundant in the air that I can breathe, I am abundant in the water I can drink, I am abundant in the time that I spend, because I can choose where and when I spend that time, and I can choose when and how I spend my money. And you start to shift your mindset. And what we talk about in mentorship, I mix a lot of science and quantum physics into my work because I believe in it. And we are imprinting our quantum field at every given moment. You are imprinting your field just by being here today. You're imprinting your field with the possibility of what is possible for yourself. And we allow other people to imprint our quantum field whether we want to or not. If you're around somebody who's constantly telling you that you will never amount to anything, and you take that in, then that gets imprinted on your field. And so that right there, that little snippet of what happens in a medicine wheel in a dysfunctional way and in a functional way is how it's different than what's free on my website. Is we get into that nitty-gritty and we look at every little one of those little facets and we bring it into balance and get you back to the place where your original soul seed is laying dormant and just needs to have some air, some fresh air breathed into it, and that fire ignited inside of you, and that water to help nourish it, and that earth to help ground you, and bring it into that place, into that center of the wheel where you are deciding what life you want to live. And that is possible for every single one of you. Every single one of you. We all have that capacity. You are no different than anybody else. And yet you are so unique in how you express that self. We are all unique expressions of God or spirit or source, whatever you want to call it, all in. But we all have the ability and the capacity to create for ourselves the absolute most best perfect scenario and space for us to be who we are meant to be. And that, and I'm going to end with this, is how we change the world. We are living in a world that is, in definition of the medicine wheel, highly, highly imbalanced. It is so imbalanced, it's sickening. We have way excess energy in the east. We have a deficient south and north, and we have this focus on the west where it's all about the outcome. And that kind of a wheel does not live well. It does not end well. And the only way to balance out that global medicine wheel that we're all experiencing right now is to get your own medicine wheel in balance so that you ripple out into the world and you change the people around you. That is the only way that this world changes. And that's one belief that I feel very, very certain about, is that is our personal responsibility. It's the responsibility that we have to ourselves to living the best lives that we have and that we can. And to stop making excuses. And I'm going to be a little blunt here with the excuses I hear all the time is, I don't have time, I don't have energy, I don't have money, I don't have blah, 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 blah. These are all excuses that we have all used to keep ourselves small. I've used them also. I recently had made that excuse to almost not take a workshop that I really wanted to take, and then I saw the price tag, which ironically is the same. It was actually a little bit less than what my workshop is for, but it was only for 6 weeks, and I made the excuse initially like, oh, it's just too much money. And I was like, am I kidding? That's not anything. That's a drop in the hat. That's like, 5 nights out of having fun, having dinner and a movie. And so I made my choice, and I took that workshop, and I got so much out of it, so much benefit, because I took care of my own spirit. And so that's what I implore to anybody, and that's what all these people who are here, they're on the mentorship, I think they made the investment in themselves. And correct me if I'm wrong, but has it not been the best investment ever? I mean, Kaya's story alone, she hasn't even started the class. And she's already seen the payoff. And Paula,
yeah, I can
please
vouch.
speak, and I'll just keep going.
Yeah, I'll vouch for it. I've been thinking this whole time that we're talking. I had no clue who Dakota was when I signed up for this class. I literally saw something on Facebook, and something told me you need to do that. And then I clicked off it and shut my laptop because I was like, I can't afford that. And then literally in 20 minutes time from seeing the original Facebook post, I went back, I opened my laptop up, and excuse my mouth, I said, fuck it, I'm doing it, because I knew I needed it. And I'm not even sure why or how I knew I needed it. And then that was in January when we started the North. Literally from then until March, I had this opening up where I got to teach 3 functional medicine classes that I do, and each one of them I made 800 or more teaching them, and a yoga series of classes based on the elements that I've been wanting to do for 3 years. I wrote the course 3 years ago, haven't been able to do because the space I wanted to do it in had a yoga teacher there that had the exclusive contract to teach yoga there. That fell apart in a good way. We're both teaching in the same spot, but I'm now teaching this yoga series that I created 3 years ago. And then on a less positive but positive note, if that makes any sense, I'm here for the classes, and I feel this really intense like community, and a relationship that I've been in for 10 years fell apart recently. And like, I'm so okay with it. Don't get me wrong. Life is a heartbreak, but I learned so much strength that this was not serving me. And it was time that I just said, it's okay. And it's funny because I've been saying for 2 years, this is not filling my needs. Can we, okay, get this, Dakota, you'll crack up about this. Can we please go to a sacred communication, sacred sex class? What man would say no to that, right? Let's do something to really like up our sex life. He refused for 2 years, And he just said to me recently, I can't do this anymore because this relationship isn't meeting my needs. And my jaw dropped, because it's like, I said that 2 years ago. I've been begging to make this relationship far more beautiful, to focus on the positive. And you're telling me it's not feeding your needs? I'm okay. I have strength.
Yeah.
I have boundaries. I thank you. So there, that's my story.
Oh, thank you.
And I
You
miss
bring
the
up
community.
a good point, Paula.
Go ahead.
Yes. Get your butt back.
Well, it's summer. I'm outside.
I know. So Paula's still in the mentorship, but now she's not as much. She's always outside walking when we're on our live calls. So.
And I will be doing that again.
Yeah, I understand that.
So
good.
Thank you.
Well, we'll see you next week for sure.
On Sunday.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. On Sunday, yes.
She's outside in the winter time too. It's not just the
Yes, that's true. I've never seen her inside. I will say this, and I really believe this too. If you're not ready for change, don't even hit the enroll button, because your life will change. And Paula just touched on it. You'll have relationships that are not serving you that will end. You'll have jobs that are not serving you that will blow up. You'll have all kinds of things happen that will shake your world. Everybody's shaking their heads. Amy just posted that she new job, new home. She started grad school, and that didn't come without losing some things in the interim. Betty went through the same thing. Betty, was in a job she didn't love. She really wanted a new house and all these things, and then they all started blowing up. And then she is now living kind of like a dream life. She's living right now in her new home, and she has a job where she can work from home. And Betty, can I share your NOA?
Of course, yes.
Well, actually, you share it, because I think it's one of the blow-ups was when we had the government shutdown.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you want me to talk?
Yeah,
okay.
You tell it.
Okay. Well, when I first started the mentorship 3 years ago, I was in a job that I didn't love, but like I put in the chat box, I chose me. That night that I stumbled on Dakota's website, I said, yes, I'm going to do this. I don't have the money. I'm just going to put in a credit card and trust. The very next day, I got a bonus that paid for the entire year of the mentorship. So I knew the universe was going, yes, thank you. But I stayed in that job and then took another job that I thought was going to be great, and it wasn't. I ended up working for a division of NOAA, but I thought, oh, the government job, that'll be great. Not so much. I didn't fit in well with the people. I didn't fit in well. I mean, I could do the work, but I was so different from everybody there. So the government shutdown made me realize how much that job was not working for me. And it was scary and it was hard, but then this job came along and I'm back into doing an industry that I understand. I do like doing it, and I've got the freedom to work from home. So you guys can't see me from like the waist down, but I'm wearing my jammy bottoms. So yeah. But it's just been great, and I'm having time to slowly start my own dreams and my own vision and my own business. But now I have to do that. So mentorship has changed everything for me, everything. And I got a beautiful new grandbaby. So really,
that's right. Yes, he is beautiful.
Yes, he is.
And that's what I love is that through the blow-ups and the eruptions that happen during the mentorship, you've got a community that's supporting you. You have structure to understand what's happening. And then on the other side of that is you start manifesting what it is that you really, truly desire. And Betty right now is, and this is what I call jockey steps, taking jockey steps to get to where she really wants to be, which is to own and operate a thing called why am I blanking on
Aheba.
Bahia House, which is to help women and children in need. And that is her dream. And so I have full confidence that by this time next year, we will all be reading about her new business. And she'll be here at one of the openings talking about her journey to realizing her dream. And we just started actually a new program within the mentorship called the Soul Trekker program, where I do focus coaching with those who have been on the wheel for a year or more. And we focus on one, we're going into the south direction, but your focus might be your spiritual path or your job or career or your emotional body or relationships or your whatever it might be. And we zero in on that and we do some focus coaching around it. And I had some of my first focus coaching sessions last week with a lot of the peeps. And one person in particular, I'm not going to name this person, but she really has been struggling to want to teach this work. And I love this too about the mentorship. We've had people at all levels, like Sherry, who never knew anything about spirituality, to this person who teaches spirituality. And for years wanted to teach her own work, but just never could get out of the gate doing it. And we did a focus session last week, and I gave her a week to come up with an outline for her workshop that she was going to take live. And this is something she's been working on and struggling with for years. And she actually turned in her outline 2 days after our session, and she has the outline for 2 more workshops. And now she has a marketing plan. And that's just how it happens. It's like you get this momentum going, and it just keeps going. And we are very result driven over here at Gaia Wisdom School. I like to see people changing their lives. And if you're not changing your life, then we're going to find out why, and we're going to figure it out in the medicine wheel. And I will give you soul work to get that momentum going. So, Raven, and then we're going to have to probably close up here.
Okay, just quick question. I find, can this help with like indecisiveness? I find like there's so many things I'm interested in and stuff that I'm pretty good at. I just don't know which way to go, so I don't go anywhere. I mean, I just dabble in this and that, but don't really get anywhere.
Yes. Did you take the soul archetype test?
Yes. I
Are
did,
you a
and
wisdom keeper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can see myself all the directions.
So the wisdom keepers, I feel sorry for you guys. Wisdom keepers, when you aren't in balance in all of the directions, it feels chaotic. It's like, oh, I like this. Oh, here's a shiny object. Oh, look at that. And you're all over the place, And it's hard to pull you down and say, okay, go in this direction or this direction. And so what you need to do as a wisdom keeper is to really hone in on one direction at a time and balance it out. And try not to get the shiny object syndrome. And then you start going really deep within. And because we all want to aspire to being in that wisdom keeper space and being able to view the medicine wheel from that place. But you have to have all of the directions pretty balanced to do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just realized I actually not a wisdom keeper. I'm in the north, but I was wondering if I should be in the wisdom keeper slot because I do relate that way to everyone.
So you're probably similar to Sherry, where you come in as one soul archetype because that's what you identify with. But really what the energy is something different. And so we'll unearth that in the next 9 weeks. You'll probably take the test at the end of the 9 weeks, and you'll probably see a little bit of a shift there. So that's my guess. Okay, anything else? Sherry, wait, Denise?
Just one more thing. I mean, you had said it before. You were at one point in your life, you were pretty much a wisdom keeper. And then your whole life turned around. And do you want to talk about that just a second? So it like a
I
wisdom,
was,
yeah, the wisdom keeper
yeah.
is not bad. I mean, it's just you get
Oh,
there,
yeah, no.
everything is balanced, but
Mm-hmm.
then something else, something happens, like in
Mm-hmm.
your particular case.
Yeah, so,
I mean, I'm a wisdom keeper right now. I'm waiting for the bottom to drop out. Oh my God.
and what Denise is talking about is 2 years ago, and this is, so when you're walking the shamanic path, everything's in a spiral. And so you're going through life and you're hitting up against the same kind of themes over and over and over, but at different levels with different tools and different understandings and clarity. And you get to this place where your life feels really balanced. And for me, that happened 2 years ago where I felt like I had all of my quadrants really super in balance. Like when I took the energy assessment test, I would be like 99% balanced in almost every single direction. I was living in North Carolina in the mountains. I had a retreat center. I was out in nature every single day. I was physically active, and I had a relationship by all means that on paper looked really healthy and great, and worked from home, living my passion. I ate healthy. Everything was in alignment. And then, and I knew this was going to happen. I knew that there was going to be an unraveling, because it always happens when you get everything in balance, that there's a certain unraveling that happens that takes you right back around into the spiral, and you start over again. And for me, what happened was I started to have some realizations that, yeah, my wheel was really in balance, but there was a lot of imbalance happening in the south direction, where I was putting a lot of energy into work and less energy into the relationship. And when I started to look at it, it was because the relationship wasn't as connected and authentic as I felt it was. And I started to see things a little bit differently. And as I started to view them through this viewpoint, things started to shift. And then I decided to leave my relationship, and I blew up my own wheel on purpose. And it was a very conscious thing. I blew up my wheel because I knew that there was something different or something more or something that I needed to learn and experience. And then I went on the road and basically became a digital nomad for a year. And I traveled all over the United States. Many of you have watched my shaman shorts and all of those. And kind of I get emails about this, like, wow, in the beginning of your travels, I was really worried about you. You were a mess. You were just a mess. And then towards the end of the trip, people started to see that shift. And it was me renegotiating my wheel all along, and really leaning into all the different directions. And the shaman shorts are all about that. It's like I would be someplace and be like, oh, this is east energy right here. Oh, this is south energy. Oh my God, look, there's a portal into a cave. That's a north direction. And I started to live life according to the medicine wheel, very much in the moment. And I have to say that journey inward, and yet with an outward expression, was transforming for my entire life. I do live in the Wisdom Keeper spot. I rely heavily on Soul Shaman to teach my work. I rely heavily on Visionary to make my business grow. I rely really deeply into the South direction to create the relationships with you guys, and with I believe that I come across as being authentic, because that's what I aspire to. You're not going to see me being all beautified with this, whatever. I'm getting ready to go swimming after this. I've got my bathing suit on underneath this outfit. But I live my wheel from that center space now, and but with that awareness of being very conscious and very awakened, and knowing when I need to blow something up so that I can move it forward into another area. I don't feel like I need to blow anything up right now, which is good. Well, actually, that's not true. I need to blow up my west direction, and because I sit a lot and I moved and now I'm not walking as much, so I need to blow up my west and get more energy moving over there. And that's part of the wheel, is really being able to sit there and see, this is what I need. This is what I need less of. This is what I need more of. I need less time at the computer and I need more time outside. So thanks for bringing that up, Denise. That's
Well said.
a big part of my story is living the wheel. And at the time when my life blew up, I can't tell you how many emails I got where people were like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for loss of your relationship. I'm sorry to hear that you guys broke up. I'm sorry that you aren't in the mountains anymore. Or that I can't believe you had to give up the retreat center and blah, blah, blah. And to me, don't feel sorry for me, because what happened as a result of all that is I would not trade this life for anything. I would not change a damn thing. And I'm really living it. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But those imperfections just kind of show me where I need to shift and grow. So with that, I'm going to end here today. I really appreciate you guys giving me your time, almost 2 hours of it on a Friday afternoon. And if you have any questions whatsoever about the mentorship, medicine wheel, meditation, whatever, just find us over. And we have a Facebook group. If you're not a part of that, I would suggest getting over there. And for those of you who are in the mentorship, I expect to see you guys in class next Wednesday is when we start. If you're planning on joining the mentorship, I would not waste time, because there's a lot that you can be doing right now. I don't like for you guys to join something and not have something there for you. So we've got some stuff there for you to start out with. Also, and Sherry doesn't know this, I'm going to announce it. Whoever signs up for the mentorship today, I'm going to give like an 8-hour window. That takes it to 9 o'clock tonight Eastern Standard Time. Whoever signs up by, we'll just do it to midnight. Whoever signs up by midnight tonight, I'm going to offer a $30 gift certificate to Any Guided Meditations in Soul Shop. And I'm also going to offer do I do this? I'm going to offer a half-hour focused laser coaching session to the first 5 people who sign up.
Wow.
So yeah, I think I want to do that, because we got really jazzed this last week doing some one-on-ones. I was like, this is awesome.
It's amazing.
So the first 5 people are going to get that laser focused session, and anybody who signs up today by midnight is going to get that $30 gift certificate to the Soul Shop for guided meditations. So sorry, Sherry. We're going to get off the call. She's like, are you sure?
Just don't change the website again.
Can I re-sign up? Raven, we'll take care of you. All of you who have already signed up, I'll take care of you. Don't worry. And make sure that you have some added bonus there, because that's part of what really I struggle with, is I'm offering these bonuses, but people have already made the commitment and signed up. So I will make sure you guys are taken care of. Okay. Thank you, Amy. She says you've already taken care of us. Aw. I like to overgive, which is what I'm doing today. I'm oversharing. All right. Good night, you guys, or good afternoon, you guys. I'm going to go swimming and take care of my west energy. I will be back in my east energy office here in a few hours to answer any questions. And then, I look forward to seeing all of you next week. All right. Bye, everybody. And thank you, TubeLand.